Getting paid, man. The Cash Crop CEO, man, right here with Ghetto Globe, man.
You can't stop this motion, nigga. This shit gon' keep going. My cup run over, call the plumber. This shit overflowing. Go back to your baby daddy.
Growing up in Atlanta, it was very fun, you know what I'm saying? So, in my earlier years, you feel what I'm saying? My mother got an older sister who stayed in Southwest Atlanta in these apartments called Allen Temple, deep in Southwest Atlanta, Zone 4. Those apartments have a very strong hold in my childhood because I saw, you know what I'm saying, a lot of, you know what I'm saying, everything going on, to say the least, you feel what I'm saying? But also, it was a tight-knit community. You couldn't let none of them older ladies see you doing nothing out of pocket, you know what I'm saying? They were going to report to your folks. You're going to get your ass whooped type shit, but, you know what I'm saying, you might bend around the corner and see some real live trapping going on. You know what I'm saying? Folk running up the car, folk rocking polo and, you know what I mean, rocking Cartier and shit on their face and shit. And this in the early 90s, 93, 94 type shit, you feel what I'm saying? I used to hang downtown as I got older, started riding public transportation and shit. Like, the energy of Atlanta always just been some player shit contrary to what the internet likes to project in today's time. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta always have been a place, in my opinion, where, you know, you can get your ass handed to you, you know what I'm saying? If you come, you know what I'm saying, disrespectfully, like, we'll get this motherfucker to you, you know what I'm saying? But all that coming here and think you running shit, gonna take shit over shit, you know what I'm saying? That's where the problems begin. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people misconstrue Atlanta people, Southern hospitality, you know what I'm saying, to get some kind of idea that this shit sweet, or, you know what I'm saying, we some pushovers or something like that, and that's not really the case. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, growing up, I had fun. I used to be on. I done been on every side of town. My dad's from the west side of Atlanta, Vice City. Grew up in Egan Home, so I got that west side shit in me. You know what I'm saying? That my grandparents ended up leaving Egan Homes, and my grandfather bought a house in Adamsville, which they still had a house to this day. Grew up going to camp best friends in the summertime, shit like that. Man, the A was lit, bro. I was 9 years old when the Olympics came to Atlanta in 1996. That was a very fun time of my youth, you know what I'm saying, with athletes, the best of the best from all over the world. Atlanta was very active in youth activities in the 90s, you know what I'm saying. They had a lot of they had a lot of programs for the youth back then, so as far as like taking us to parks. And like I said, when the Olympics came, we was meeting, like I met Jerry Rice and, you know what I'm saying, Andre Rison and shit like that in the night. Like, Atlanta was dope, bro. As time went by, you know what I'm saying, I would say foolishness, and what I mean by foolishness is, you know, the bullshit, shootings, you know what I'm saying, unnecessary dumb shit that go on in cities all across America, you know what I'm saying, played a major part, as well as like city council and you know, different administrations that have been in and out of the Capitol building downtown Atlanta, stripping the city of things that gave it its identity. And what I mean by that is, like, from my understanding, I'm just 38 years old. I got cousins in their 50s, you know what I'm saying, who really came up in a time where Atlanta had its culture truly intact. And my older cousins be telling me, like, they used to be coming out the old club 112, bro. It was daylight, bro. Like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. They might leave. The people who had jobs were leaving the club, going to work. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like they damn near want shit to close down at midnight. You know what I'm saying? Cause like it ain't no telling what can break out. Shootings, cars getting broke in. Um, just greed, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying, started, you know what I'm saying, the downfall of Atlanta culture. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm old enough to remember, like, you went damn near coming out of pocket 300, about $200-300, depending on where you going, just to get in the club, bro. Like, some of these people charging all kind of crazy ass parking prices, club to get in the club. They took the dance floors out the club, shit like that, bro. Just a lot of out of town people have moved here and started to shift the culture differently as far as like bringing things that may have been working where they're from and trying to implement those things here in Atlanta for the sole purpose of making money, you know what I'm saying, which began to make the culture shift in my opinion. I'm an '80s baby that grew up in the '90s, so a lot of this shit is literally a lot of old enough to remember, too young to go type shit. You know what I'm saying? So I can remember jumping in the box shit with my older cousin and shit like that, and they going on the West End on Ashby Street. You know what I'm saying? 559. I'm old enough to remember that. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't have to go. A lot of this Atlanta shit, like you didn't even have to go in a lot of these places, bro. Like niggas was getting fly and shit and pulling up in these parking lots and you know what I'm saying, nigga might have met a group of girls and they were talking about the right shit. You were talking about the right shit and y'all might have, and they homegirl might have hopped in the car with you and vice versa and goddamn y'all might have, had a good night that night, didn't even go in the club, you know what I'm saying? It's just a small thing, shit like that, bro. Like this was I called my personal nickname for Atlanta is a player's paradise. You know what I'm saying? At one point, this was definitely a player's paradise. You know what I'm saying? Like in today versus today's time, you know, men have made women, so to speak, so uncomfortable in public because niggas can't take rejection. You know what I'm saying? Versus they try to holler at them, and the females play a lot of part of that too, just acting stuck up and snobby, you know what I'm saying? But like when I was growing up, like you went out, you know what I'm saying, to have a good time and mix and mingle, and like it was a whole, like all that contributed just to the overall feel. Like these people from out of town that was coming to Atlanta and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? This is the shit that they was falling in love with. They were coming here from all over the place. Like the term Atlanta damn near started the term to come for vacation and leave on probation. You know what I'm saying? Type of shit. Like this what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not the oldest cat. Like I said, I'm just 38, bro. But I know and remember enough of what was going on. I done been outside and stomped and laid footprints enough around to, you know what I'm saying, I can speak on certain topics and things like that or what I remember, you know what I'm saying? Then, so far like some hood shit, you know what I'm saying? All the projects and shit was up. Like a lot of out of town people, they ain't trying to bash people from out of town, but like, I just feel like if a lot of the PJ was still up, it would have kind of kept a lot of the arrogance of out of town people intact, so to speak, because hoods was still up, you know what I'm saying, that would have made people keep a line of respect intact. We living in a more gentrified time to where like in neighborhoods like the Bluff, you got a house that may be pushing 100 years old, and then you got a house that's a $300,000 house that just got built next door to it. So you got a lot of that going on. Atlanta began to change to me under the Mayor Kasim Reed administration. Like the last little just feeling of the feeling I felt growing up, I want to say had to be roughly maybe in 2008, 2009. It was the beginning of a new shift. And a part of that, like they killed downtown, bro. Like under Kasim Reed administration, they murdered downtown, bro. Like this all we knew growing up. Like you went from hanging out after school, being a young youth, adolescent, growing up into adulthood. Like we went downtown to shop and just hang out and shit, bro. And I can remember coming out of Five Points train station, like it was vendors all around the whole train station. And what I mean by that is like you had like the Jamaican cats and you know what I'm saying, some of the OGs out of surrounding hood, you know what I'm saying, areas around Atlanta that had their vending permits to where when you walked out of Five Points you could reach down in the cooler and buy you a little juice or snatch you a little bag of chips down and shit like that, you know what I'm saying. People did that, you know what I'm saying, going and coming from work, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. And they stripped those people of, you know, having that opportunity to where they start building these little huts downtown to where they was paying the city, damn, I want to say 200 a year for a vending permit, and they want these people to rent these little huts that they built downtown around the downtown area. I think they, when they first put them up, the people they wanted like 1,500 or something like that a month, and that shit was ridiculous because you got to think this type of thing was going on probably before I was even born, even all the way to over there in Summer Hill at the Braves Stadium. I'm pretty sure since Atlanta Fulton County Stadium and then Turner Field, you had those people that was out there vending the Braves memorabilia with the T-shirts and stuff like that. You know, like under his Cassine Reed administration, bro, like all that shit stopped, bro. Then, you know, the last little bit of public housing and shit that was up, that shit began to get boarded up and tore down slowly but surely. So I say things began to take a turn around probably about 2008, 2009. Now, I always been a all-around cat, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm from the Southside, Southwest, Emmy, you know what I'm saying? Also, but I've been around this whole city, you know what I'm saying? From Decatur, everybody ain't really know where I can't go. I've been a likable player type of cat my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Since the age of 12, 13, man, ain't really know where I ain't been. If I ain't been, it was probably tore down before I jumped out the porch type shit. But, you know what I'm saying? I've been a known cat a long time, you know what I'm saying? I might not be the most known, but, you know, a lot of cats know me, for sure. I always knew when I was young, you know what I'm saying? I knew I wanted a clothing brand one day. I want to say around about 15, 16. I always been intrigued by like clothing. I used to catch the train, the bus to the train, catch the train up to Lenox Mall and just walk in stores with damn near barely $10 in my pocket as a young cat, you know what I'm saying? I used to go in and get the Guest store, Kendall Cole, you know what I'm saying, Bloomingdale's, you know, stuff like that, and just kind of just study clothing, you know what I'm saying? I used to grab jackets and just feel how heavy the jacket was, open the jacket up, see if the jacket came with a lining in it. I always been intrigued by clothing my whole life. Then, as far as my background in my family, my mother and my aunt, my mother's older sister, who I said stayed in Allen Temple on the west side, she's been a seamstress my whole entire life. Growing up at her house in Allen Temple, like the whole hood was at her house. She used to, nigga pants might be too long. Nigga knocking on the door. Shit, man, Lord, you could hem my pants up, or prom time used to come. My cousin then went to Usher Middle School, Frederick Douglass High School. Prom season was lit. Like, they made custom prom dresses, tuxedos, wedding dresses. Summertime came, they might get a pattern that they liked that made dope sundresses and shit and sold them, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I grew up in the 90s, so this is what I saw. Only thing I kind of regret about my youth is, in the midst of that, I'm still having older cousins and shit who like in the street, so I'm seeing niggas running up the cars, and I'm seeing niggas rocking, you know, Cool G and goddamn, you know, whatever D-boys was wearing, polo, shit like that. And I kind of started leaning that way instead of kind of sitting down to take up the trade of knowing how to sew. Now, if I would have started sewing, so to speak, at the age of maybe started to begin to learn maybe at about 12, 13 years old, and I'm 38 years now, man, I'd be a beast right now, because a lot of the tailor cats now, whether you went to design school or not, or, you know, just know your own or learn from somebody in the family, those cats kind of winning right now, you know what I'm saying? So far as like bespoke and custom, you know, clothing and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But it's never too late. I plan to enroll into sewing classes and soon try to get my aunt to teach me, but my auntie almost 80 years old now. She not she done hung it up, you know what I'm saying? But she still be encouraging me, her and my mom, you know what I'm saying? They proud of me. They see that I'm taking what I have saw my whole life to the next level and stuff like that. And they encourage me and I show them things that I produce and, you know, they happy for me.
I think that's hard. I'm gonna switch. What's the tag? Okay. So, and that's dope. So, how long you been doing Cash Crop so far?
So I started Cash Crop in 2017. Yeah, my daughter was born. 2017. I started. I chose the name Cash Crop because I felt like, you know what I'm saying, it sounded organic. Even though a lot of people name their branding or things like that around money, but it never that was never like the meaning behind me naming my clothing brand Cash Crop. Cash Crop had more the the background, you know what I'm saying, aspect of me naming it that was just all about like the garment itself, whatever I produce, you know what I'm saying, being um anticipated enough to draw a demand. Like so far as like, you know, corn, you know, cotton, you know what I'm saying, wheat, shit like that, all that type of stuff is cash crop or cash crops, you know what I'm saying? And those are things that, you know, make the world go round, you know what I'm saying, from an aspect of like, you know, it's needed, you know what I'm saying? So when I decided to name my brand Cash Crop, it was just something I felt like, you know, from just being organic, you know what I'm saying, and just got down doing it for the love of it, so to speak. Because I feel like people get lost in shit just doing it solely for the money. Money, it can be a driving factor of why you do it, but I feel like you still should be doing something you love to do at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? And my motto, you know, for Cash Crop was inspiring others to build something greater than themselves through urban fashion. So I know clothing is bigger than me. It's gonna always be. You know what I'm saying? People been wearing clothes before I was even thought about. You know what I'm saying? And my favorite era of fashion has to probably be the '60s, the 1960s through the '80s up into the '90s because in the '60s, like fashion was so dope. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it's relentless, and we talking about like how like the Detroit people was, you know, how they were suited and booted, who was signed to Motown with Barry Gordy and, you know, the outfits and stuff like the OJ's wore. When I look at, even when I look at television shows, I look at it deeper than just watching a sitcom or just a show. I pay attention more in depth to like the time period of what they were wearing and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I think that you know, those times were dope, you know what I'm saying? So like when it comes to your kids and me being a father now, my daughter being 9, my son being 7, as I raise them up, I feel like it's some parents force what they're specifically doing on their children, and it kind of make their kids rebel. What I would do is kind of more so the flip side. I would just be in support of whatever direction that they would be going in, but also making sure that they have some love for it, you know what I'm saying, and turn it something that they have actual love for into a means of being able to make a good living off of that. So like I say, I always been a likable cat all my life, you know what I'm saying? And me and Killer Mike got the same last name. You know what I'm saying? I ain't grow up with him or nothing like that. But, you know, I believe in alignment. So things just align, you know what I'm saying, based on my affiliations, based on me just being a dope individual, you know what I'm saying, a likable character I have been my whole life. And Killer ended up reaching out to one of my OGs from College Park who discovered the singing group 112, got plaques on his wall with executive co-writing songs and you name it. He reached out to me one day and like, yo, bro, you know what I'm saying, little bro, Mike wants you on this series with Netflix, blase. And I was like blown away, like, you know what I'm saying, like, he ain't have to take it time to, you know what I'm saying, tell him to reach out to me, and he did though, and I appreciate that. It was a dope experience. I learned a lot from it. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciated Mike for that.
Okay.
With the whole Netflix situation, from my understanding, it was just broadcasted on Netflix. I can't really remember dealing. I can't really remember dealing with any Netflix personnel as we were filming. You know, for Trigger Warning with Killer Mike. We were dealing with a filming firm, so to speak. And I just learned all about the whole aspect of how casting goes and, you know, the ins and outs of, you know, the business side of things as it relates to what type of paperwork and stuff like that you gotta sign upon going on film. Like they don't want you to wear certain clothing and stuff like that they don't have any clearance for, you know, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And overall, you know what I'm saying? They were even asking a little bit about us all, like what do we have going on in life and stuff like that. I told them I had a clothing brand, Cash Crop and stuff like that. They encouraged me to wear some of my stuff if I had anything. You know what I'm saying? I could wear it on film, on camera. You know what I'm saying? And it was a very dope filming crew. They bought a lot of stuff from me. I appreciate them for that. The director, his name was Virgil, if I'm not mistaken. My boy Daddy. We still follow each other on Instagram to this day.
Okay, that's hard. That's hard. So, like, let me ask you this. So, tell me about the pressures that came with your success so far in your clothing, from even from being on a TV show, even for just being a stand-up nigga, like the pressures that come with that, and that usually people don't get a chance to see. You know what I'm saying?
The pressures that come with success is, number one, as an entrepreneur, you can very well be the reason for your own demise. And it don't be intentional, you know what I'm saying? You can have the best intentions in the world, but what I mean by your own demise is the fact that you're not sponsored, you know what I'm saying? You're doing this stuff on your own, you know what I'm saying? And you still have real life situations going on. You know, some people get blinded or even lost in their own life situations to where it causes them to not remain consistent in what they're doing. And I tried my best throughout these 8 years of being a clothing brand. I tried to stay on top of just being consistent, just dropping something, keeping my name out there, keeping something in rotation, from the littlest to the biggest thing that I could produce out of my own pocket that was quality and I felt like the people will appreciate. You know what I'm saying? Some people get lost in, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, you get frustrated in the fact that what you thought was dope, people didn't take to it. You know what I'm saying? And this comes with a lot of losses. It's not for the weak. That's why I keep reiterating that this got to be something you love. And with clothing now, you know what I'm saying, it's so cut, copy, and paste to where clothing brands are being ran as a hustle right now, opposed to having a true passion for fashion. And I'm not knocking anybody's hustle, but I feel like if you're doing it for the dollar, still take the time to produce something quality. Don't let whatever you're doing, whatever garment, whatever you're doing, don't let it appear as though like you just, like when somebody pick up something you're selling, don't give the impression like, yeah, I can just tell you trying to make a couple dollars right quick. You know what I'm saying?